everybody. I know you're filtering back from your break, and you might have been expecting Gary Schwartz in this hour, but as Susie sent out an email, Gary did have an accident. He's got a little foot injury. He's okay, but I think right now we can all send him a healing vibe since he seems to be really skilled in energy healing. Shoot that vibe Gary's way. Gary is he's actually works with a faculty member where I work. I'm at a university in San Francisco. It's small, accredited, and it's a very kind of non-traditional, incredible little school. And I am professor and department chair of integrative health and somatic psychology. Somatic psychology is a word that might intrigue you a bit because it has to do with body-oriented therapy. So I train master's level graduates that enter the field of integrative medicine. And I also have in there an embedded wellness coaching certificate. So I've been looking as a medical anthropologist and how we heal around the world and involved with health promotion industry field for the last 30 years. And I've been really looking at how spas are going to become true leaders, I believe, in this behavior change turnaround that we're all facing. I feel in a way that, nope, that is actually the slides for Jay Williams, who follows me. You want me to go back, huh? You're giving me this kind of sign. I think that's just the opening. There we go. Thank you very much. Good work. I'm going to talk for 18 minutes, which is the size of a TED Talk. And then Dr. Jay Williams is up here on the same stage. We share the same time slot, and she is a renowned expert in health technologies, among other things. And then together we're going to interweave some question and answer period for you. So the overview of what I'm going to discuss for you is very applicable. I'm very happy. We were supposed to present yesterday, and we got moved to today's slot. And it makes sense because it's all practical applications for spa industry. So we're going to look at this new model of health coaching, why it's beyond health education, why it's necessary today. And I'm going to give you some ideas about the state of the profession of health coaching and how you can apply it, and recommendations for your own spas. And then I've got a nice trick question for you at the end to see if you can all become coaches yourselves. You know, why do we even need a new model beyond health education? It's the era of personal responsibility, and we've seen that. How did we reduce our smoking rates in the US and worldwide? Well, two ways. We put the onus of responsibility of change on the individual, but we do that within a cauldron of cultural support. So we make it unpopular to smoke in office buildings. It's easier to quit when no one around you is also smoking. So that is the two-step of true behavior change. Yes, it's personal responsibility, but within a culture of support. As a medical anthropologist, I have studied healing systems around the world. Lots of time studying Ayurveda in southern India, studying shamanism in Ecuador, studying the beautiful Temazcal ceremonies in Oaxaca by the Zapotec. Thank you very much for that beautiful book, Gina, if you're still here. And as I look at all the healing arts in the world and study them and which particular healing art seems to have the best method for whatever ails you, I've developed an algorithm over the last 7 years of looking at this very carefully, because there are certain methods that excel far beyond anything we know in biomedicine. Biomedicine is the medical anthropology word for Western medicine. We don't say Western anymore. Why? Because it's practiced worldwide. It's silly to call it Western medicine in Sri Lanka at a modern medicine hospital. So sometimes modern medicine is at its limits with chronic disease, and we've truly learned that. Our opening from Dr. Richard Carmona, our wake-up call from Philippe, we were overlaid, I'd say. We had a huge wake-up call when we first gathered together Monday morning. And we looked at a new word that is forming today at the medical conferences that I attend, diabesity, which combines the words diabetes and obesity. It is a runaway phenomenon. An excellent book for you all to check out is The Sugar Solution by Mark Hyman, in which they are truly saying that it's not just 60% of the population, it's 1 out of 2 that have a condition called pre-diabetes right now. Not just the US either. The World Health Organization has declared that there's about 32 million deaths that are now going to be caused every year from chronic disease. The only continent that does not have chronic disease as its #1 ailment is Africa, and we're expecting Africa to catch up in about 2020. So there's a lasting antidote. The only real resolution to chronic disease is lifestyle improvement, and we know that. There's 6 behaviors we list right here that are crucial for lifestyle improvement, but we know that only 1 in 20 actually does those 6 behaviors. It's very difficult to get people to do that. Knowledge alone is not enough. My first degree was in journalism. As a health journalist, I knew that we were generating over 2,000 messages a week. 2,000 messages a week, and that's everywhere from standing in your grocery store line, ready to check out, looking at all the magazine covers. You were reminded 2,000 times a week to either eat healthier, take some more exercise, reduce your stress. If knowledge alone were enough for people to change behavior, we would be doing it, but it's not. People lack the actual skills. The skills that Dr. Danny talked about, and when he was talking about all the new findings in neuroscience. Well, what we've done in health promotion and coaching is gleaned those new findings from the neuroscience field and actually looked at what are the skills in order to get your brain to organize your life better. There are lots of ways that we are now critiquing the health education model that's been in existence for 30 to 40 years. And that model at an Institute of Medicine Summit in 2009, was highly critiqued for being top-down, hierarchical, scolding, for not truly motivating people to do what we need them to do. And what I did as a medical anthropologist, I'm on a national consortium with 5 other universities: Harvard's Lifestyle Medicine Institute, Duke University, University of Minnesota, Vanderbilt, and my little graduate school in San Francisco, CIIS. We formed a 5-university national consortium right now to say, how on earth are we going to help turn around people's behavior when health education is not simply doing it itself? And we found that we could borrow a model from the business world. For those of you who are CEOs, you know it's very lonely at the top when you have to make strategic decisions. And executive coaching has been used for the last 40 years, developed very well by Australia, in fact, and the UK. They have excellent models in executive coaching. And when that CEO has to make decisions, they sit with that coach, and the coach never talks down to them. The coach holds them as capable and pulls out from them this intrinsic motivating factor, helps them tap into their own internal resources, helps them quiet down that limbic brain, take 3 breaths, get to their prefrontal cortex, have the aha experience light up in their lobe. All those things that we heard from Dr. Danny. Good coaches are skilled in how do I move that into an actual technique, an actual strategy for people. So the current healthcare delivery system, biomedicine, modern medicine, wow, it is a monoculture that is marching throughout the world right now. And that means that the average length of time that you are spending with an MD is 7 minutes or less. Medical school curriculum is a packed, dense curriculum, and it does not have time to do behavior change, artistry, and science. That is becoming its own specialty, its own field. So coaching versus health education is so important for numerous reasons that I really want to leave with the spa industry. First of all, I've said we've had to look at health education. It's 35 years old in our current model. That's 1 generation. Whenever something is 1 generation old, it is due for renewal investigation. And that investigation is happening right now as we say, my God, people are sicker and fatter than ever. What has gone wrong? Yes, it's true, we have all sorts of built-in cultural missteps and trapdoors, from our ubiquitous food supply of non-nutritious, dense calories to the way we have engineered out of existence the need for physical labor. When I compare 1900 calorie expenditure to the year 2000, and we did this in a study for the Health Medicine Institute, it was phenomenal. Do you know our great-grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers in 1900, there was no wall-to-wall carpeting, they were picking up a rug, they were smashing it, there was no refrigeration, there was the iceman who came down the hall and she picked away at an ice. There was no need for a Nautilus workout every day. The calorie expenditure was 3 to 7 times higher than what it is for us. Just think in your own lifetime, you've gone from maybe 1 CD to a 7 CD changer. So God forbid you should have to get up and walk across the room and change one CD. Now we have your iPod where you can listen 15 hours a day. Every little technological advancement decreases your caloric output. So I don't need to preach anymore to this choir. You already know that. What we do need to say is that at the Institute of Medicine, which is the US nation's advisor, health advisor, 2009 was a very important summit. I was there with about 50 others, including what I call our lionized four. This is Ornish and Mehmet Oz and Mark Hyman and Andy Weil. And they all stood there and said, help, we need a new tier of health coach professionals. We can't handle this alone. Doctors, nurses, registered licensed healthcare people, we're not trained enough in behavior change, and we can't handle the onslaught of everything we've been hearing about. We need new partners. And even Ken Pelletier, wonderful expert in health promotion studies, he said when it comes to lifetime change or lifestyle change, the best model we have is coaching. So what's the state of the profession right now? It's in a bit of chaos. Health profession, health and wellness coaching. It's in a state of chaos. There are no national standards. You can take an overnight online course and call yourself a health coach. I have seen the word coaching become so popular right now that financial consultants said that their business increases 30% when they switch their title to financial coach. Coaching itself has an energy and a charge right now, but it absolutely is a profession that needs professionalizing. So I think that this national consortium that was put together just in 2010 has about 65 stakeholders, including the International Coach Federation and Holistic Nurses Association and Health Educators Associations, and about the 5 universities I talked about, because we have programs right now in teaching coaching, health coaching. So we all got together at a summit similar to this, and it was, again, like herding cats. Healthcare professionals come from strong lineages, and they have strong egos, and they had to be the smartest kid in the class. And as a result, sometimes they're not willing to always give up what they consider turf, not just because of turf protection, but because they believe, and they have been socially conditioned to believe, that their method, their analysis, their diagnosis, their strategies are the best and the most protective. This gives you an idea of some of the stakeholders that are involved in this national consortium. We have given ourselves the mission of establishing educational benchmarks. If you call yourself a health coach, just what does that mean? And we've also given ourselves a mission of establishing a national certification test within about 3 years. That's going to be difficult to write these questions. We figure it's going to not only be maybe a 150-item test, but also a video portion of it where you have to demonstrate your skills as a coach. So health coaching, again, I haven't really given you a definition of it now. You'll have access to all these PowerPoints, but it is the ability to sit with somebody in a respectful communication, in a powerful conversation that evokes from them their best ideas on how they can make that behavior change. The coach, the health coach, has to wear 2 hats. They have to be both pretty much expertise in nutrition, exercise physiology, stress management, and the theories of behavior change. But they have to almost park all that aside, because the coaching conversation is not a top-down download of authority and information. And I'll give you more of an example of that in just a second. So there's many coaching roles that exist right now throughout the world. There's executive coaches, there's people who call themselves life coaches that help you with vision, meaning, and purpose in life, and then this new category of health and wellness coaches. The National Consortium right now in the US is thinking there will be 2 categories. Wellness coach will be a term that will be reserved for people. It's sort of a mastery of wellness, lifestyle change behavior. Health coach may be the term that is reserved for licensed healthcare individuals who will need to have much more mastery over chronic disease management. This is still a contested issue. It's hotly debated within the summit phone calls that I attend 2 hours every month. That's because some of the licensed healthcare people say, how could a wellness coach ever catch up to my 8 years of study, my 20 years in the field? How could they ever pose themselves as having the same information that I have? So you can hear within the budding profession all the dynamic tension that exists. But I'm a great believer in dynamic tension, and I know that we've known from John Cow and innovative kinds of explorations that even better solutions can come from that tension. I do believe there will be 2 tiers of practice within health coaching, though. Basic coaches who will be trained anywhere, and there's programs right now that can train you in 3 weekends with another 100 hours of mentorship and coaching, to advanced programs like my own that puts you through a master's degree in which you have many courses in integrative nutrition, exercise physiology, stress management, medical ethics. So there's going to probably be basic coaches and advanced coaches. That's what we're seeing now. Some of the advanced training for the advanced coaches, this is just some idea of the amount of psychological theory that they have to explore and understand. One of the best theories that they explore and understand is the work of Keegan out of Harvard called adult development theory. There it is, like the 5th one down. They also use a lot of motivational interviewing, which is borrowed from the substance abuse world and works best with people who are truly in a place of conflict about whether or not they even want to achieve a goal. So it works with ambivalence in beautiful ways. But this amount of in-depth positive psychology, resilience work, motivational interviewing, and theories of behavior change is embedded within the advanced training of health coaches, as you can see. So what does not work? This is really interesting. We have had studies from University of Michigan right now on what does not change people's behavior, and I bet you have some ideas on this one. How many of you have changed your behavior because a spouse or significant other told you to do something? Wow, does not work. Neither does it with one person. Good. It does, and many in the test, in this massive survey that University of Michigan did, also, if your doctor said you to do something, we found that there was almost an inverse effect. People give a nod in the doctor's office, and then when they walk out of the doctor's office, they don't follow through. 2 ways in which people don't change behavior. This was illuminating new research, and here's your source for that. I'll give that to you on the slides as well. So what does work for behavior change? Also part of this new study. We found that spiritual epiphany works. People say, the Mother of Guadalupe appeared to me, and I changed right then. I stopped drinking. That works. Another thing that works is what AA has known for 50, 75 years now, I think. My gosh. Alcoholics Anonymous worldwide venture has worked with rock bottom. When people hit rock bottom, they do tend to change. What is rock bottom? Sometimes that bar keeps getting lowered, so we don't always know. And the third way that people change through very good studies is through coaching. We're going to take a look at the coaching transformation as well. Let's see. We're going to advance that and give you some idea of the evidence right now, the research for it. As a medical anthropologist, I always have to say, show me the proof. Where's the evidence? How does it work? Right now, the randomized clinical trial is, of course, the gold standard within medical profession, and we don't have a lot of those, just 12 right now, but we do have quite a bit of other kinds of documented evidence that coaching seems to be the superior method for helping people change behavior. There's evidence on each of these kinds of disease conditions. People that are, on the depression one, I just want to mention that one really carefully. Health coaching was compared to the customary care, which includes talk therapy and an SSRI, serotonin reuptake inhibitor, Prozac type. And what we found from that was that the coaching actually had better results with people in lifting their depression. Why? Because sometimes people are depressed because all of the social conditions in their life are down. They work for a jerk, they can't stand this, they don't like that, they want to change their living situation. Coaching helped them change the conditions of their life, and lo and behold, the depression lifted. That was amazing research. Well, I've got a 2-minute sign, and I'm going to advance right to the end. How do we get anything done? Because the magic is in the powerful coaching conversation. And when you think of a spa that might have 16 spa therapists working for it, perhaps you can think of 1 or 2 of those therapists that are begging for an advancement in a career ladder. And wellness coaching could provide that spa therapist that advancement throughout. The first coaching intervention should be an hour long. It can be a half hour. All the follow-ups could be telephonic. I think there's a way to continue a relationship, having a wellness coach at your spa and having a 6-month telephonic conversation for follow-up. There's a procedure that's followed by every coach, and it's based on how somebody can change life, not why. It's not therapy. There's also typical coaching goals can range from any one of these things. Most coaches work with a wellness wheel. They look at every aspect of a human's life, and they are able to then focus in, allowing that one person to choose the one area where they want to work on. So there's lots of next steps. You've heard some of my recommendations. Start in person, don't start with telephonic. Follow up with 6 months of telephone calls. Weave it into your regular spa kinds of activities. Consider basic and advanced. You know your staff well enough to know who is really ready for an advanced step for coaching. I know I'm out of time, and I'm sorry. We're just squeezing this into 18 minutes. It does take a village. Here's my summary points right here. Chronic disease amounts to 70% of all of our healthcare bills. This is worldwide except Africa, which will be in 2020. Coaching is proving superior to health education models. Coaches are entry-level players. In California alone, a health coach makes from $40 an hour to $60 an hour. This is affordable by spas. And spas can take a leading role in offering coaching. Let's you try something. I want to show you a conversation. A client has been at your spa and says, you know, honey, I'm so frustrated. I gain every pound back the minute I leave here, and I don't know how to keep the pounds off. Have we ever heard this? Now, a health education response would be the following. Have you tried eating half portions? Are you reducing your fat and sugar intake? You know, that all makes sense, right? Those are logical explanations. However, something happens inside an individual when they hear that. Because what did you say? Honey, I'm so frustrated. So that was kind of run over. It was steamrolled in the health education model. First, you express empathy. Then you roll with the resistance you just heard. You don't steamroll it. You acknowledge it. You develop a discrepancy for hearing, and you support the self-efficacy of the individual. That all might be Greek to you right now, but I'm going to show you how the conversation goes from a coach. Honey, I'm so frustrated. I gained every pound back the minute I leave here. You know, that is frustrating. And it can't be easy to start all over again. When you answer somebody with that kind of sentence, the barriers come down. The level playing field is opened up. Suddenly, you're a safe individual to talk to. Client, you know, I just don't know how to keep the pounds off. A good coach hears what they call change talk in that sentence. Change talk. I don't know how. There's an opening there. You learn to step into that opening, and you answer with, well, a provocative question. Pretend you did know. What would happen? This is an actual coaching conversation. Oh, honey, I'm kidding myself. I know what happens. I overeat, and I don't exercise like this. The coach answers then, so you do know quite a bit. That's the empowering moment in a coaching conversation. And from there, you know, let's talk now. Let's problem solve together. What do you think might be keeping you from putting those pounds on? Good work. I know you can all think of who would make great coaches. Thank you much for your time.